Good evening, everyone. Great to see so many of you here. Before we start, I just would like to introduce myself briefly. I'm the Technical Development Manager of CARES. CARES is an independent and international product certification body that focuses on the production, processing, supply, and installation of steel and other construction products. Although the content of my presentation is about Commission 7, there has been lots of things going on about Model Code 2020. So I just would like to also touch the Model Code 2020 content and also the adaptation specifically for sustainability. And in the second part, I will be also talking about Commission 7 activities, task groups, objectives, and the scope. Just a brief about the Model Code. This is the history of Model Code. Most of you probably you are aware about the development of Model Code. Currently, we have 2010, which will be revised within 2020. The Model Codes are reference documents and used worldwide and influence lots of areas actually. Eurocodes. If you go to Asian countries, African countries, you find out that model codes are well specified in most of the projects. As far as I know, we have Commission 10 dealing with the model codes, and Gordon is chair, as far as I know, and it has not been changed. And for TG 10.1, responsible for Model Code 2020. I think Mr. Matthews is also there as a convener, so we have good representatives from the UK side. Model Code 2020 will be formed from 9 parts and 24 chapters and will be greatly extended compared to Model Code 2010. It represents more general and more rational models, removing all heritage from previous empirical design rules. It takes sustainability as a fundamental requirement and supports UN Sustainable Development Goals. It also recognizes the needs and expectations of engineering communities, and it should be designed based on an international base and had to be accepted by many countries. So this is the existing structure of the commissions. Actually, we are trying to contribute to Commission 7 sustainability part with a couple of task groups. I'm also involved in Commission 7, which is relevant to reinforcement. So this is the current structure of the commissions under different principles like sustainability and durability, materials and production side. FIB published, produced lots of technical reports, state-of-art reports, textbooks, manuals, guides, recommendations, and also model codes. FIB has also series of technical documents based on sustainability aspect. Some of them has been already presented here this evening, but I just would like to also show you a couple of the reports which was created by FIB commissions. This is the first one about recycling of offshore concrete structures, which was published in Bulletin 18, April 2002, and another report about environmental issues in prefabrication, which was published in March 2003, and another report, Environmental Effects of Concrete, published in June 2003. Another report on environmental design, published in February 2004. There is a model code for service life design, which was published in February 2006. And another technical report on environmental design of concrete structures, published in August 2008. There is a good practice document which is about green concrete structures, which was published in May 2012. And then another state-of-art report about the integrated LCA of concrete structures, which was published in December 2013. And finally, which was mentioned this evening, this is the final one, state-of-art report published in December 2018. These are all relevant to sustainability aspects. The new approach to sustainability in the Model Code 2020 has different inputs, actually. The new approach includes the stakeholder engagement, conceptual design and execution assessment, evaluation of 3 pillars of sustainability: social, environmental and economic aspects, through life management, and also evaluation of most suitable scenarios and schemes. When you involve in the commissions, you realize that mostly international standards are well accepted within FIB community. So they try to avoid national standards. That's why our sustainability part also try to reference the relevant ISO standards. And there are many links with UN SDGs like climate change, responsible consumption and production. Just some of the standards, ISO standards, which we are following and monitoring, and some of our committee members also involved in the development of these standards, especially the Japanese academia is well involved in this, standard developments. For example, ISO 13315 series is the, the standards relevant to environmental management for concrete and concrete structures. We got the most recent one, which was Part 8, relevant to environmental labels and declarations. So I strongly suggest you, if you go through this standards, you find out lots of good practices, standardized methods within these standards. On top of that, there are also some standards available in ISO, like ISO 21921 Part 1 talks about sustainability indicators for buildings. There's another standard under the same Part 2, which is for civil engineering works. So a variety of standards developed by ISO, and still there are efforts to develop new standards. Model Code 2020, as I mentioned to you, it is now, it has been already started to, the review process is already started. And TG 10.1, they are aiming to produce the first general structural code for new and existing concrete structures, which fully integrates the provision for the design of new concrete structures and matters relating to existing concrete structures. So there has been quite a lot of change in the model code. These are the 9 parts of the new model code, and there are in total 34 chapters. It's a quite extended code now. My concentration tonight will be on chapter 5 and chapter 3 and 5 under part 2, and the other one is under part 6 with 4 chapters. These are mostly about the evaluation of sustainability aspects. This is the content of chapter 3. Sustainability approach is a key conceptional to be considered in all human activities, including all life cycle stages, design, production, construction, operation, maintenance, repair, and demolition of any building or civil engineering work forming the built environment. So, crucial importance of sustainability considering within all life cycle stages of any concrete structure follows from amount of produced concrete, resulting in the fact that concrete is the most widely used construction material in the world. Under chapter 3.1, under the principles, the sustainability approach based on three pillars of sustainability. These pillars are formed by groups of aspects with associated performance levels, and these groups of aspects are linked to each other. So there are individual aspects, but they are also linked within each other. Exceptional nature of man-made actions and disasters affect entire system, and it performs, and thus resilience is overlapping of all these three pillars. As we can see from the previous slide, resilience sits on top of each aspect group. Chapter 3.2 is about the social performance, and in this one they have decided to split into two groups. The first group is covering structural performance, and any structure should provide a long life, safe and high quality environment for the accepted function within entire life of structure. Basically, this includes structural safety, serviceability, condition limit states associated with durability. And then on the other social performance, acoustic comfort, which is positive action of high specific weight of concrete, thermal comfort, positive action of thermal mass, visual comfort, fire safety, all these aspects had to be considered during the development of Model Code 2020. Chapter 3.3 is environmental performance. As you know, the world construction industry consumes around 50% of the total world resources. So there is very significant resource use. Energy consumed by construction and operations of the buildings and infrastructure is also about 40% of the total energy consumed all around the globe. So it's quite significant. The amount of harmful impacts embodied in concrete is in comparison with other building materials relatively small. However, with respect of high production of concrete, the final negative environmental impact in a global scale is very significant. These are the key associated impacts we will be concentrating on in Model 2020. Climate change, of course, one of the, as you know, SDG, pollution, resource depletion, biodiversity and biodiversity change, water consumption, waste generation, of course, and also some other regional aspects, because when you go to some specific regions, you may also have some different environmental aspects. Chapter 3.4 is about economical performance. You all know there are economical aspects of this area. Again, the construction industry is very important to the global and also the local economy. The industry contributes 10% of the global GDP, and also one of the important employers, providing work to almost 7% of the total workforce in the world. So all these aspects should be also considered in the model code. And chapter 3.5 is about resilience, which sits on top of, as I mentioned to you, all these three pillars. Resilience is the capacity to adapt the system to changing conditions and to maintain or design a new structure or regain the functionality. So resilience should be sitting on top of each social, environmental, and economic aspect. I just would like to show this structure because this is still under development, and commission-wise we are also trying to contribute this part. But chapter 5 will be included. Will include structural performance, environmental performance, and economic performance and resilience. And this is chapter 28, evaluation of environmental performance, and this is the context and content of this chapter. 29 is about economical part of the evaluation, and this will be the content in Model Code 2020. Life cycle cost sits in the middle of the concentration and focus. 30 is about sustainability evaluation. We are considering an integrated life cycle assessment, and we should be defining the methodologies, identified methodologies in this part, and also should be identifying the existing tools for sustainability assessment. The second part of my presentation is actually I'm involved in this part. The Commission 7 started activity in January 2015, and this was followed by, in total, I guess we have 7 meetings. The last 2 meetings were in Malta and Melbourne. We try to attach all our meetings with the, symposium or FIB events. The next one will be probably in Krakow, in Poland. We are targeting actually academia, designers, consultants, producers, contractors, authorities and governmental institutes in Commission 7. This is the scope and objective of Commission 7, briefly. We are trying to develop a strategy as to how to incorporate sustainability issues into the design, construction, operation, and demolition of the concrete structures. We try to contribute for the development of Model Code 2020. The focus on reduction of CO2 emissions, especially from concrete production, reduction of energy, improving the performance quality of internal environment, reduction of waste to landfill, because a huge amount of waste is generated by the industry, and development of EPDs, metrics, recycling and use of recycled materials, and resilience of the structures. These are the main focus points of this commission. This is the current structure of Commission 7. You can also see the chair and also the convenience for each task group. Actually, Commission 7 incorporated task groups within which existed under the former FIB structure in Commission 3. For example, TG 7.2, it was formerly TG 3.9. TG 7.4 about sustainable civil structures, formerly it was TG 3.11. So this means there has been some work on top of these subjects and task groups, but now we are trying to improve what has been done before. And the task group TG 7.1 deals with the framework, and this was established in January 2015. And 2 more task groups established recently, TG 7.6 and TG 7.7. From especially the representation of these last 2 groups are from Italy. And the collaboration with other commissions, actually we collaborate with Commission 1, TG 1.5, structural sustainability, Commission 6, prefabrication, Commission 8, durability, and also Commission 10 for the model codes. And also we collaborate with ACI Committee 130. This committee is dealing with sustainability of concrete, I think, which is still chaired by Sean in the US. 3 pillars, and then how our TGs are sitting in this 3 sustainability aspects. As you can imagine, TG 7.1 is the framework that sits in the middle, and then 7.4, 7.6, and 7.7 is about resilience. That sits in the also center, and then we got also some other task groups relevant to environment, 7.5 EPDs, and these are all the scope and objectives of each task group. The scope of general TG71 is to establish the general framework actually. And we are expecting an outcome of a technical report by the end of 2020. And I think they had also a good progress with the support of Professor Hayek from Czech Republic. So maybe the report will be before 2020. And then 7.3 is about the life cycle perspective, especially for the recycled materials. This is managed by the Japanese FIB members. A good progress also here. There will be a 10th state-of-art report, and this will be published in 2019 this year. And we also have TG 7.4 concentrating on the civil structures. The community is from Czech Republic, and they are also trying to create or issue a state-of-art report in 2019. This is where I involved. I am the deputy convener of TG 7.5. Unfortunately, we got some gaps. It was inactive. Now, with the support of myself and also Professor Menna from Italy, we reactivate the group, and the kickoff meeting will be in May 2019 in Krakow. 7.6, this was just March 2018 in Italy. This was the kickoff meeting was in Italy, and this is about 7.6 is dealing with resilient structures, and the convener is from Italy. This is the last one. Professor Paris is also from Italy, and the kickoff meeting was in March 2018. They are concentrating on the sustainable concrete masonry components and structures. Two more proposals from the members. From Malta, Professor Borg proposed a new TG within Commission 7. And also from Indonesia, we have a new proposal. Just for your info, the proposals had to be reviewed by the FIB, top management, technical committees, and then after that, if it's accepted, then you can start taking an action. This is my last slide. So these are the upcoming FIB events. So we have an FIB symposium in Krakow in May 27th and 28th and 29th of this year. As CARES, we are trying to also present papers, technical papers. Two of our papers has been accepted by FIB. One is about post-tensioning, the other is about sustainability. So we will be also presenting two papers. And then next year, there will be international conference in Prague with the support of Prague Technical University. So you'll be all welcome. Thank you very much.